In our previous video, we have discussed about Pangea to present, continents, oceans, longitude, latitude, international date line, prime meridian. In this video, I will discuss about North America. So before entering in North America, some terminology about North America and South America. So you have to know first of all Latin America. Latin America means land from Mexico to southern part of South America, called as Latin America. Middle America. Middle America, that means land from Mexico to Panama. Panama is situated here, called as Middle America. Central America. Next is Central America. Central America, that means land from Belize, which is situated in southern of Mexico, and land to Panama, which is called as Central America. Now next is the Caribbean countries. Also called as Antilles, also called as West Indies. There are 13 independent islands and 19 dependent islands. So this group of Ireland called as Caribbean countries or Antilles or West Indies. But when we talk about Antilles, Antilles divided into two parts, Greater Antilles and Lesser Antilles. So it is part of Greater Antilles. Greater Antilles, and this part of Antilles called as Lesser Antilles. So I hope you have understood about these terminology: Latin America, Middle America, Central America, and Caribbean countries. These are country comprise North America. So it is Canada, it is Greenland, Greenland basically part of North America, but it is dominated by Denmark. This is also I have discussed Caribbean country which is part of North America. Yellow region called as USA, United States of America, and Alaska is also part of USA. And between Canada and USA, 49° makes border between USA and Canada. Canada is called as land of lilies, land of maples. Lily is one type of flower, and maple is one type of water shocker. This question has been asked in one exam, which one country known as land of lilies, so you have to remember it. Then green region called as Mexico, and Mexico City is capital of Mexico. USA capital is Washington DC. Canada capital is Ottawa. Here Belize, Belmopan capital of Belize. Guatemala capital of Guatemala. San Salvador, El Salvador capital of San Salvador. Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and Haiti, Cuba, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. Here Bermuda. You have to know one important fact about Bermuda Triangle. Bermuda Triangle, that means one point of triangle is here, one point of triangle is here, which is Miami. This is Bermuda, and San Juan. When we will draw triangle with these points, that is known as Bermuda Triangle. Here high gravitational force compared to general gravitational force, that's why aircraft and ships have disappeared in many time. So in this time many research are being to find cause behind the high gravitational force situated here. This is map of physical North America. Here I can discuss it is Greenland. This Iceland known as Ellesmere Island. Sea is known as Beaufort Sea. This sea is known as Baffin Sea. Here you can see one water strait is situated here, which is known as Nares water strait. nearest strait. You have to know a difference between bay and gulf and difference between water state and water channel. If this is one land, this is another land area, and water passing through between both land on narrow manner called as channel. And when, if it is one land area and it is another land area and water passing from between this region in broad manner called as water strait. When we talk about difference between gulf and bay, if this is water surface passing through, if it is water surface passing through narrow called as gulf, if this is water surface passing through broad area called as bay. Again, you should know difference between continent and Iceland. If it is larger landscape surrounded by water from four sides called as continent. If a small land area surrounded by water from all sides called as Iceland. Here you have to know what do you mean by peninsula. Peninsula, that means if this is land area covered by water from three sides called as peninsula. So I hope you have understood about the difference between continent, Iceland and peninsula. Now we will move forward. This land area called as Queen Elizabeth Island. Also, I have discussed it is Baffin Bay. This Iceland called as Victorian Island. Also, I have discussed it is Beaufort Sea. Here you can see water surface. Here called as Gulf of Bhutia. Gulf of Bhutia. Here you can see one water state is situated, which is known as Mackler Strait. Mackler Strait. Mackler Strait. It is known as Victorian. So I hope you have understood Queen Elizabeth Island, Victorian Island, Beaufort Sea, Gulf of Bhutia, and water strait is known as Mackler Strait. This peninsula this is one peninsula called as Melville Peninsula. Melville Peninsula. Here you one channel you can see Fox channel. This island known as Southampton Island. Southampton Island. This bay is called as Hudson Bay. Hudson Bay. This water surface called as James Bay. James Bay. In Hudson Bay, some islands are situated in sequence. That's why in some time exam question can be asked what is sequence of these are island from north to south or south to north. That's why you should know it. This island is known as Coat Island. This island is known as Mansell Island. Here another island is situated, which is called as Ottawa Island. This island is known as Balcher Island. So these are islands which are situated in sequence. Northern Iceland is Coat Island, then in south of Coat Island located Mansell Island, then Ottawa Island and Balcher Island. This Iceland is known as Baffin Island. Iceland. I have discussed this is Baffin Bay. This sea is known as Labrador Sea. Labrador Sea. And between Baffin Bay and Labrador Sea, one strait is situated, which is known as Davis Strait. Here also another strait is situated between Hudson Bay and Labrador Sea, which is called as Hudson Strait. One important fact which I have forgotten about Canada. Canada has largest coastal region in world. So I have discussed about this water strait, which is called as Hudson Strait. It is Hudson Bay. It is Labrador Sea. It is Baffin Bay, and it is Strait of Davis. Hudson Strait. So this peninsula is called as this peninsula called as Ungava Peninsula. Ungava Peninsula. It is Hudson Bay. So that's why you can say Hudson Strait joins Labrador Sea to Hudson Bay, and it isolates Baffin Island from Ungava Peninsula. I have discussed about it. It is Labrador Sea, and it is Gulf of St. Lawrence. Gulf of St. Lawrence. Here one strait is situated, which is known as Strait of Bally Strait. This island called as Newfoundland. It is known as Laurentian Highland. Laurentian Highland. So these are Gulf Strait, Sea and Highland in this region. In this region we can say Bally Strait joins Labrador Sea to Gulf of St. Lawrence and isolate Newfoundland from Laurentian Highland, which is Laurentian Highland. Laurentian Highland. This region has been completed. Now we will move to southern region. This bay is known as Chesapeake Bay. Also here Washington DC, which is capital of USA, is situated here on the shore of Potomac River, and Potomac River lies on Chesapeake Bay. This peninsula called as Florida Peninsula. Florida Peninsula. Here one water state is situated, which is called as Florida. Florida Strait. Here Sargasso Sagar. Shoshi. It is Gulf of Mexico. It is Antilles. Also I have discussed it is Greater Antilles. So you can say Florida Strait isolate Florida Peninsula from Greater Antilles and joins Sargasso Sea to Gulf of Mexico. It is Greater Antilles. This peninsula known as Yucatan Peninsula. Water surface called as Caribbean Sea. Here one man-made canal is situated, which is known as Panama Canal, and after made Panama Canal reduce distance between Atlantic Ocean and Pacific Ocean, because from here ship can pass through from Atlantic Ocean to Pacific Ocean. And before it ships were covering whole South America coastal region, but after made it ship can pass through from here. But one important fact you should know, if it is land surrounded by water, any ship if any ship is here and wants to go to there, that ship will have to cover this whole distance. But if one man-made canal make here, that ship that ship can go from here to there, but this canal is known as isthmus. That canal is known as isthmus. That's why Panama Canal also example of isthmus, where Gatun Lake was made and Panama Canal passing from that lake. So I hope you have understood about the isthmus. This water surface called as Colorado Bay. This is known as Mexican Bay. Sorry, this is known as Gulf of California. Gulf of California. This island is known as Vancouver Island. Vancouver Island, and this is main part of Canada. And one water state is situated here, which is known as State of Juan de Fuca. Juan de Fuca. There you can say Juan de Fuca isolate Vancouver Island from mainland of Canada. These group of island called as Queen Charlotte. Between Queen Charlotte and mainland of Canada, one water state is situated. One water channel is situated, which is known as Hecate Channel. This group of island called as Alexander Archipelago. It is also example of archipelago. Its water surface is known as Gulf of Alaska. Gulf of Alaska. It is known as Alaska Peninsula. It is known as Alaska Peninsula. This group of island called as Aleutian Island. Aleutian Island. So I hope you have understood about these reasons. Now we will move north side of this region. Here one bay is situated, which is known as Bristol Bay. In northern region of Bristol Bay, another bay is situated, which is known as Kuskokwim Bay. Kuskokwim Bay, and northern side of Kuskokwim Bay, Bering Sea. Bering Sea. This is part of Russia, and it is part of North America, which is Alaska. Alaska is part of USA. Here one water is strait is situated, and also I have discussed it is Beaufort Sea. Beaufort Sea. This strait is known as Bering Strait. It is Bering Sea, and it is Bering Strait. Bering Strait is most important, you should know, because it divides Russia from USA and it joined Beaufort Sea to Bering Sea. That's why it is very important. Here another water surface is situated, which is known as Mackenzie Bay. Mackenzie Bay. So we have covered a coastal region of North America. In our next video, we will enter physical landscape of North America.